Hello there, my name's Gerald and this is a kind of more of a response sort of video to some comments I've had. A number of comments on a video that I previously posted a while back on playing Mike Oldfield's famous Tubular bells, more familiarly known in the States as the theme to The Exorcist, well either or, how to play that on a single guitar. Try as I might, I've tried to condense this down to 10 minutes to comply with YouTube's mandate, but unfortunately I haven't found a way to do that. So as I say, unfortunately I've had to break this down into parts 1 and 2. Now in this one, part 1, what I'm going to show is the breaking down the famous arpeggiated theme melody, which is obviously the backbone to the entire piece. Kind of without that, it wouldn't really make sense. And then I'll cover off the bass line and then the descending chord progression, which on the track is played on a piano. And then in part 2, what I then break down is the little flute refrain piece, which on the 1973 original release was originally played on a flute. And then rounding it out finally with that little legato riff that happens to end out the entire passage before it moves into the next phase of side 1. So hopefully you'll find this useful and useworthy. So let's get going. This is the arpeggiated pattern. You're barring at the 7th fret, your ring finger's on the G string at the 9th, and the 4th finger is on the B string at the 10th, and this is basically it. Right, so that was it. Let me really slow it down. Basically I'm plucking with my thumb, my index and my middle finger on this hand, and just across the G, B and the E string. So that's basically it slowed down. Now, 2 ways you can play this. If you want to play it on your own, you've got to have that theme going on constantly in the background behind you, because it's the backbone. And so there's a way you can do that. If you maybe just want to, if you have something like a Boss RC20, Boss RC2, or Digitech Jam, and these loop stations that you can have at your feet, you can be playing into that, and if you time it right, it takes a bit of practice, I can assure you. You can maybe play that around 4 or 5 times, kick it in, and then hopefully it will pick up pretty seamlessly, so you can have that going on in the background, so you can put the other pieces over the top. The other way, obviously, it will work great as a duet, but if you're the one that's drawn the short straw to be sitting there for 4 minutes doing, good luck, because I think you'll find over the stretch of 4 minutes that position is actually going to put quite a strain on the hand and the wrist. There's a workaround that kind of makes that considerably easier to do, and that's basically just to put a capo on, or a capo on at the 7th fret there. Ugh. So if you can imagine now, that capo is replacing the index finger there. So instead of being in that position with the 3rd and the 4th, you basically, it frees you up to have your 2nd finger on the G string, your ring finger on the B string, and then obviously your index finger is now free to work the E string at the bottom there, and it makes it, as I say, considerably easier and more forgiving on the hand. Something like that. So that's the main thing. Let's cover that off. Now let's just quickly look at this bass line. What you're doing is starting off with an open A string, and your open A string, and it goes something like this. slowed down, this is what's happening. So that goes around 9 times, and 3 times throughout that, on the third go round of it, there's on the track there's that kind of there's that organ stab, that bang sound. There's everybody jumping out their skins. What you can do, you can kind of replicate that by, when you're going on the A there, you can do something like this. And what you're doing in between there, you can just bar the B and the E string there at the 5th fret. Give it a nice staccato sort of pluck on the with the fingers there. So let's do that really slowly. That's a kind of nice little fill there. Stylistically, I think on the 2003 remastered version there's a slight nuance difference to it. I think there's a couple of slides in here, something like this. You can play it something like that, so you slide up from the to the F to the G on the D there, and then do a little hammer and pull off, and then right. So that bass goes around about 9 times, and coming out of that, you then go into the descending piano chords, and basically you start off with A minor at the 5th fret, and you go down to E minor with the G in the bass there, down to D minor with F in the bass there, then A minor. Then you come over to D minor with D in the bass, then back to A minor, and then E minor, then it finishes and resolves back on A minor at the 5th. So it basically goes something like this. I'll play it fast. So those are the chords there. That goes around twice, 2.5 times actually, and in between each progression there's this little sort of fill that, if you adopt that 7th fret position for the main theme, goes something like this. And you're back into etc. So this concludes part 1. If you want to check out part 2, in that I just finish it out by breaking down what on the 1973 version was the little piece that was played on a flute, which is etc. And the final piece of the equation, which is the little legato riff, which ends the whole passage, which is all that's broken down in part 2. So hopefully see you there.